Are you going to the game on Saturday?
I don't know if I want to, DJ, because
Why?
for those who don't know, I left the Christmas game between the Texans and the Ravens in the middle of the third quarter, and I made a big show of it because I was just so sad that I spent time covering that team instead of with my family. And guess what? My family has disowned me. They are no longer speaking to me. My little godson, Richie, he is just so incensed that I didn't come home for Christmas,
hmm
and now he never wants to see me again. I haven't heard from my mother, my father,
That's unfortunate.
my sister. And it's all because I chose to cover those losers. Excuse me, those bum ass losers on that specific day, December 25th of 2024.
That was a tough game. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll always remember that game because it was just so uncompetitive. Like,
they scored 2 points.
yeah.
They're just
Like,
memorable because they scored 2 points.
yeah, like if they lose in a playoff game, we could talk more about that Christmas game because some guys told me some very interesting things about that game. But I want to save that for if they lose.
Mm.
Ooh, that is a tease. Okay.
If they lose,
Okay, yeah, okay. Let's start there. You just said the word "if" 3 times.
yeah,
You think it's an if they lose? Because
Yeah, I
we
mean,
think they're dead men walking, and it's they're going to lose.
yeah. I mean, I would lean towards they'll lose, but you
Okay.
know, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? I do think it's a bad matchup though.
Why so?
Because the blah, 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 the Chargers, what their strengths are they can exploit the Texans' weaknesses. They're sitting a lot of too high, split safety looks, and that's giving the Texans a lot of trouble this year. They can't run the ball against light boxes. You know, they're bottom five and running against light boxes. They can't throw effectively and efficiently against shell coverages consistently. So like this is kind of the recipe for a potential disaster in that aspect. Again, if you take away Nico, like, or at least you muddy the water with Nico, like who else is gonna beat you?
It's a good question. I saw a depressing statistic that Derek Barnett has as many
Yeah.
touchdowns as Dalton Schultz.
Yep. I think he has more than Robert Woods, right?
He does,
And John Mechie.
and Xavier Hutchinson combined. In fact,
Yeah,
all
exactly.
three of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, you're going to need somebody else to step up on offense. I really am having a hard time buying into the idea that there's anything really positive to take away from what we saw Sunday against the Titans. They did score a touchdown for what it's worth. Where's the team morale at right now, based off of your locker room visits over the last couple of weeks?
That's a good question, man. I would say the Ravens game was a real low point. Um,
Of course.
yeah, it was a really, really low point. Like you had guys like privately and openly, obviously questioning game plan and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Daniel Hunter.
yeah, and I think the week before that, the tank loss was such an emotional letdown. Um, like I remember that Monday when we had a presser with CJ. I remember Chancellor Johnson, KPRC, he was like, "Yeah, I don't think they're gonna win on Sunday. I mean, on Wednesday mainly because he was like CJ doesn't look like he wants to be here right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think there was like an emotional letdown from that, um, and I think that it's kind of it's not the morale from last year versus this year at this point is like two totally different things. Like last year, it was more like we can keep this going, we can shock the world. This year is more like, can we just play clean football and kind of hope for the best? You know what I'm saying? So, well, I don't, I'm not saying that's what players are saying, but that's the vibe I'm getting. Like,
Yeah.
can we just
Because they've been trying to do it all year.
exactly. At the end of the day, like, players aren't stupid, right? So like if they see what's happening hasn't been working the majority of the year, it's hard for them to muster up and think like, oh, okay, everything's gonna just change right now. So they kind of got to play a very clean game this week. They could play a clean game, not get them a shot. But they got to commit to the run. Like if they get pass happy, they'll lose the game. If CJ throws the ball over 40 times, they'll probably lose. If CJ throws it under 28 times, they actually have a really good shot at winning. Because I mean, the run game is really, really working. If you can get Joe to over 100, now you got a real good shot. But if you can't, like it's gonna be a long day, And it's not like the Chargers are gonna like outscore you. It's just gonna be like a physical beatdown. And I think if that happens, like I think a lot of things can change. In terms of play caller, obviously, the O-line coach is probably gonna be gone next year, regardless. And it could be a trickle down fade. Then going into year three, like now, like I'm not saying like D'Amico's on the hot seat. I'm not saying that, but like now there is a different level of expectation for them because you going into year three. In year three, you gotta make something happen. And there'll be more pressure for sure. I know what he did year one, but year one, that doesn't even really matter to an extent. You know what I'm saying? Like in year three, there has to be some legitimate progress. So I think the pressure is gonna ratchet up going into next year, and you got to nail your OC hire if you get rid of Bobby, and you got to nail your O line coach. Once you get rid of him, so and they don't have that much cap space. They only got $14 million in cap space. They could restructure Daniil or extend Daniil, restructure Laramie. Um, I doubt they would want to restructure Titus. 'Cause, he has a high cap hit, so Titus could be gone next year. So like, there's been new faces. But yeah, they're in a very interesting spot. Across the board, they're in a really interesting spot. So like, them losing on Saturday would be like a major red flag in terms of the quote unquote rebuild.
So the only thing I feel like from this weekend that was good to see, positive, was really the impact of Damian Pierce. And I think it's interesting, like talk about the run game having to get it going. Why do you think we see like performances where Damian Pierce can be electric, like he was on Sunday in the kick return game? They can't get the run game going. Why does Bobby Sloak not use him in the offense at all? Like why do they not even try to use him in any capacity at this point when Joe Mixon's also struggling?
I'm not gonna be moved by Damian Pierce's touchdown on
Yo,
on
it's
Sunday.
92 yards though, dude.
Yeah, he was untouched.
Yeah.
So the issue is like Damian's vision. So like, if everything's clear, he can run right through it and he can make something happen. But like that's not necessary. And again, like it's against the Titans who were trying to lose. It's very clear they're trying to lose. And so they played all the young guys, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, some guys on offense, were more vets, but they were clearly trying to lose it so they can get them one pick. And then again, when he had a good game against the Patriots are the Patriots, right? Even though the Patriots could be good next year, we'll see. But outside of that, like he had, obviously he got hurt when Joe was also hurt, so that kind of. But he had some opportunities throughout the year. I just it's more of a vision thing.
Okay.
Like Mixon's a better like fit. You know what I'm
Definitely
saying?
more trustworthy at this
Yeah,
stage.
like I'm not gonna. We saw Damian last year get carries and what that looked like. Like Damian's issue is just it's just vision for the most part.
He doesn't fit this offense. I,
Yeah,
I,
it's
I think
simple
he's
as
got
that.
talent. There's probably another running scheme that he actually could be a good player.
Right.
How much of his success was a result of the new offensive line configuration? Because now you
Oh,
got Juice Scruggs over at right guard. Is
not moved.
not moved at all. Okay.
No, I mean again, like it was a game where the Titans were trying to lose. There's not really much you could take from it. In all honesty, and again, like they still only scored like 23 points. If you really want to go that route, they only scored 23 points.
Do you think the offensive line, though, like now with this configuration, is better for the long
That's what
term,
I was
or it's
trying to get to.
still, or at least for for this playoff game
for this,
specifically?
nah.
Better with Shaq Mason if he were healthy.
Probably. I mean,
Oh
it's a
wow.
wash. It's a wash.
Jeez.
No. Shaq regressed drastically this year. Yeah, no, it's a wash. I think they have to like reinvest in the interior offensive line regardless, because again, like you can get out of Titus's contract, and the way it's structured, like his cap is over 20 million. It's like 21. Do you really want to pay have that cap hit on your books? Even though like the dead cap is like 19, so you're only saving like $2 million in cap space, but do you want to get that off your books regardless?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll see about that. And then again, like Patterson and Juice, like I think you don't want to be Miami where they try to just rely and bank on internal development on the offensive line, and they kind of blew up in their face this year. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris Greer just said recently, like, hey, you're gonna invest in the offensive line this coming off season, which is insane to say publicly that like you guys were kind of neglecting it, but regardless, especially on the interior, but regardless, you got to get guys that can not just play, but that can move the needle, right? Like consistently move the needle to where you get to December, January, you can play winning playoff football. Because again, like when they play teams that are physical, that can punch them in the mouth, they struggle, right? Like it's the reason why they're 1-5 or 1-4 against teams with winning records
A
or in the
one and
playoffs.
six.
1-6.
Yeah, 1-6 versus teams this year with a winning record.
Really?
Yep.
I thought. Well, I know playoffs is for sure at 1-5, but regardless of the point, like your point, it makes sense. Like
Yeah.
there's a reason why. Because the teams that can win games, are teams that are physical, right? Teams that can make to the playoffs, they can run the ball, they can control the trenches, they got good quarterback play. The Texans right now, they have a talented quarterback. They have flashes where they can run the football, But on a consistent, every time flashy where the D line can take over games. But in terms of like consistently throughout the year, like we can't say that we saw that the entire year.
Jets have requested an interview with Bobby Slowick.
Yeah, that's not going to go anywhere.
I mean, the Jets have requested interviews with everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
So you're probably right. So that means it wasn't surprising to you.
It was still surprising to me. It's not going anywhere. It was still surprising to me because like the offense has been so bad this year, and the thing is like, well, not bad, but it's underachieved. I don't want to say bad because they're still like averaging 22 points a game, 19th in the league. It's not horrendous.
But below average considering
Right,
he's a
right,
top
right,
line
right, right,
quarterback.
right. So do they want to go like the West Coast Kyle Shanahan tree again? You know what I'm saying? I don't think they'll do that again. I mean, they kind of had a guy like that in their building already, Michael Floyd, and they ran him out. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll go do much, but we'll see though. I mean, it'd be interesting to see like how many interviews he gets this go around. He's not gonna get a head coaching job offer, but we'll see where how many people actually request to interview him.
It seemed, based off of D'Amico's answer when asked about him, I know Aaron Wilson had asked the question and he said, hey, things maybe not as smooth this year. And D'Amico did seem defensive of Bobby Slowick. And we've touched on this before, but to me, it felt like another example of D'Amico supporting Bobby enough that he'll be here next year.
Yeah,
Has that
yeah,
changed at all?
yeah. I mean, again, if for me, it's on how it looks on Saturday. If it's nasty on Saturday, then maybe things could change. But it has to be something nasty for that to happen on.
It's 2 points.
Yeah, I mean that was nasty.
You want Bobby gone, root for 2 points. Or maybe 4. I don't know.
No, that's for sure like the worst performance offensively since D'Amico's been here.
Yeah, that's why I don't really think the Saturday should matter. I think it should already be.
Because what if they put up 30 points?
Well, then
And
what
they
happens
win.
next week when you play the Chiefs?
Nah, but at that point, I mean, you're right back where you started. I mean, you're right back where you ended last year. At least you
Yeah,
can say,
but that's short sighted, right? Like if you have playoff success against the Chargers, like while they have a good defense, it's hard to ignore when you didn't score a second half of the touchdown for like 12 straight weeks.
yeah, not for sure. But again, if you get to the second round, like you're right, at least you can't say you took a step back.
Yeah, you can say like we got to the same point last year
Yeah.
by win total. Like how many, they would have won the exact same amount of games. Yeah, I don't know. Like I really don't feel like Saturday honestly should have any consequence to the future of Bobby Slowick. I don't think anything should change. I would say the same thing about like, we wouldn't say if CJ Stroud throws for 500 yards and drops back 45 times and doesn't get sacked once, that changes how you feel about the offensive line coach.
Right.
Like we know what the problems are, and Saturday should not have an impact on what the Texans are doing, in my opinion. Like,
but it should though, because like if they do the things you just said, that gives you confidence going into next year and into the following week. Because they do that, then like at that point they could be anybody.
false confidence.
But again, like it's better to have false confidence than
No, it's not. I'm a Bears fan. No, it's not.
It's better to have false confidence than no confidence.
No, because like we saw the coaches get fired this year. The Saints,
know.
the Bears, like you go into a season with false confidence, like I
Brock
feel like it blows
Osweiler
up in your
had false
face.
confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I hate false confidence.
I think false confidence is very important.
If I see someone with false confidence, like I want to suplex him. Like rather,
But like how do you determine what false confidence is?
By being bad all season and then having one successful playoff game and being like, yeah, everything's good. Like we told you, everything's fine. We told you all season long we were gonna figure it out.
And then if they go the next round and their offensive line holds up and plays well against the Chiefs or the Ravens.
Big if though. It's a big if.
That's what I'm saying. No, for sure.
Yeah, like I think I get your point. Where like if they go on a run,
yeah, if they
different.
do, well, yeah. It's just the if is. I think everyone.
Yeah, I know the if is crazy. It's like
the national media is. It's the Chargers across the board. They're road favorites.
Yeah. See, that's why I feel like they could end up winning then. Because how often do we see it where like everybody's on one side and then like,
we do. You're right about that.
All the time.
But we're making picks based off of that. It's like, well, everyone's picking them. That's crazy. You're almost just being a contrarian by nature.
Right. But I mean,
I get where you're coming from, and I mean, maybe the closer I get to the game, the more I'm going to talk myself into them potentially winning a game at home. I mean, they are.
It's funny though. The Chargers did want the Texans.
Yeah.
Like that is not a guess. That's not an explanation. That's people I talked to that are in LA. They wanted the Texans.
Is there a reason other than the way the defense matches up against an offense
I,
that's struggling? I mean, on the offensive side of things, with what the Chargers have done this year, they have Herbert, but the numbers aren't high this year. They do have Lad McConkey, who's very good at getting open to short. Quinton Johnson's actually been good this year, and Jim Harbaugh always finds a way to get the most out of the running backs
yeah,
he has. Is J.K. Dobbins and Ezekiel Elliott now, I guess.
I think it's mainly like they 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 really think they could beat. Obviously, they think they could beat win any game, but I think they have way more confidence against the Texans than let's say they had to go to Baltimore because Baltimore like that they already beat
Yeah.
that that'd have been tough
Oh yeah.
for them. But Texans, I guess they don't see it that way.
I just can't. It's just like to have a team that's so openly your quarterback, your social media team. Like Herbert's openly talking about how he was in a meeting room and he heard the cheers happening while he's watching film as the Steelers game is unfolding because it meant that good things were happening for them. So how do you think this plays out this weekend?
I mean, I think I would lean towards them losing. Mainly because like I just don't know how they're gonna protect CJ well enough for him to do what he has to do, and only one, only Nico,
Mm-hmm.
the corpse of Dalton Schultz.
Man.
Yeah, I just don't know. You know what I mean? So I think the larger question is if they lose, where do they go from here? You know what I'm saying? I think because if they lose round one, that'd be a massive disappointment for the amount of money that they spent, the amount of hype that they had. Granted, injuries happen, but still, like I remember I was talking to somebody about it. Like, I think it might have been Sarge, and we were arguing. It was actually during the Christmas game because he was like, um, they lost Steph, they lost Tang. I'm like, bro, you guys people act like they lost CJ, Laramie, Daniil, Will, Stingley, Nico for the entire year. Like, you still have enough guys at premium positions to win games. You know
For
what I'm saying?
sure.
Like, you still have Joe Mixon, you still got CJ, you still got Laramie, you still got Nico, you still got Will, Daniil, and Sting. That is more than enough to win a playoff game.
Yeah, and I mean, you're getting a lot out of your rookies too.
Yeah.
Kalen Bullock almost had pick
That's what I'm
six.
saying. So
You know,
it's like Kamara's been really good. Like at all your premium positions, outside of maybe like right tackle and like wide receiver number two, like you have it nailed down.
are they more talented than the Chargers, top to bottom?
I never bought into the idea that the Texans were like this super overly talented team.
Gotcha. But if
Yeah,
we're looking at both of these
it's
rosters,
even. It's even.
you think it's even? Okay.
Yeah, it's even. Like I never bought into this idea. I remember people say, "Oh, this is the most talented team in team history." No, it's not.
I just remember going into the year, a lot of people looked at the Chargers and they said, not a lot of talent,
Oh yeah. But like again, like
but they've gotten the most out of it.
but as the season progresses, like the whole concept of talent is super subjective, right? Like it's like
Yeah,
oh
it's name recognition
yeah, it's
more
name
so.
recognition, things of that nature. It's not, how are you playing at this point in time, right? Lad is playing very well,
Mhm.
right? Obviously, Justin Herbert's been playing well this year, helping get into where they are right now. J.K. Dobbins has been a very effective running back for the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs for the Chargers. They have two really good tackles. They still got Nick Bosa. They still got not Dick, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. The back end doesn't have any recognizable names, but the way they run their scheme, they'll be fine in that aspect. So again, like it's not like now it's not like they're going against the Ravens. The Ravens have more like they have objectively more
Mhm.
talent than the Texans, but it's not like the Chargers don't have talent. You can't get to 11 wins with no talent or limited talent. That's impossible. That's virtually impossible. You can't coach your way to 11 wins with subpar talent.
Especially in AFC West. The West is better this year.
Bingo.
Last question. Final score.
Oh, I think it'd probably be like something like 23-17 or something like
Slow
that.
scorer. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why it's hard to like completely right off the Texans because at the end of the day, like it's not that the Chargers are gonna put up 30, 35. If that happens, then that's just they might get booed off the. You, you didn't finish it. You didn't stay for the whole game against the Ravens, right?
No, I left
Yeah,
left in the middle of the third quarter.
yeah. So like by like the fourth quarter, that was the emptiest that I've seen a stadium mid game, like towards the end of a game, like maybe my career. Like it was scattered. It almost sounded like a scrimmage by the end of the
Oh
game.
yeah, it took me a while to get out because everyone was leaving
Yeah,
in the third quarter.
exactly,
I thought I beat the lines.
exactly.
Hopefully that won't be the case. But Saturday 3:30, an event unlike any other. The Texans in that Saturday action. They're 5-2 in that game all time. People forget 5-2, baby.
They could win this one.
They could.
Yeah, I'm not completely writing them off.
That's good. He is DJ Bien-Aime. You can catch his work for ESPN covering the Houston Texans on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and on ESPN. DJ, thank you as always.
No problem.